A mysterious aircraft suddenly landed right in front of a woman's house. But instead of being scared, she walked straight up to it and started filming. Moments later, the hatch slowly opened, and the reporters who had been waiting for this immediately set up their cameras. Then her husband stepped out, completely unharmed. As the only human who had ever come into contact with alien life, he became the public's only window into the unknown. When the government found out the aliens had given Jack a gift, their representatives immediately tried to take it for themselves. When Jack refused to cooperate, they pulled a gun on him and forced his hand. Left with no choice, Jack handed over the gift. But just as he was passing it over, he suddenly opened the lid. At that exact moment, 60% of patients around the world suffering from leukemia, lymphoma, and other serious illnesses were miraculously cured. After that, Jack was fully seen as the spokesperson for this alien civilization. According to him, the aliens came to Earth for one reason only: to solve war, pollution, poverty, and the other problems facing humanity. They were determined to turn Earth into an ideal home, but no one had ever seen what the aliens actually looked like. Not even Jack knew the true appearance of the overlords. Still, just as the aliens had promised, war really did come to an end on Earth. Warships that were once used in battle were now turned into transport vessels for disaster relief supplies. Even the oil pipelines in Saudi Arabia were converted into freshwater channels. Although world leaders didn't agree to this willingly, the giant ships hanging over their heads left them with no other choice. In just half a year, the quality of life for refugees in poor regions improved dramatically. People's worship of the overlords also reached an all-time high. But there was still a group of opponents who came together on their own and formed the Freedom League. They firmly believed the overlords were actually holding humanity back from progressing. Then one night, a disabled black teenage boy saw his mother being robbed. When he tried to stop it, one of the criminals shot him straight through the heart. The boy died on the spot. But suddenly, a beam of light covered the attacker. In the next second, the criminal dropped to the ground, convulsing, and the dead boy was miraculously brought back to life. Even his disabled legs were healed. This proved that the overlords had already taken control of human justice and could punish criminals however they wanted, based on their own standards. Because of that, the Freedom League's protests grew even louder, but they knew they had no chance in a direct fight. So they shifted their target to the spokesperson instead. They kidnapped Jack and took him to an underground base 45 meters below the surface. But the whole operation was accidentally broadcast live to the entire world. The Freedom League had hoped to use this chance to win over more supporters. Instead, Jack reacted far more intensely than they expected. In the chaos, one of the members pulled out a gun and fired. But the moment the bullet left the chamber, time suddenly froze. It turned out the overlords had been monitoring their every move all along. The reason they didn't step in earlier was because they wanted the whole world to see the Freedom League's true colors and the lengths they were willing to go. After that incident, the Freedom League completely fell apart. But this was only the beginning of the Overlord's grand plan. From that point on, Jack was never summoned again as their spokesperson, because humanity had already fully adapted to the comfortable life the Overlords had given them. For 15 years, humanity lived without worries. No work, no sickness, plenty of resources. The reborn Earth became like heaven on Earth. And in the end, the Overlords decided to reveal their true